Thank you. Yeah, I think so. Everyone who's still here or not. Well, hey. Collect the material report back, but yeah, so let me just ask everyone real quick. So we've lost some people. A lot of you have done some really cool things. Do you guys want to get back together and see what your other tables have put together? Yes? Yes? No? Takers? Stayed? Yes? Okay.
So it's in the next room.
We'll get you out of here by 8, but
What everybody else is saying.
anyone who wants to stay, we can walk around and look. We can pin them up. Do you guys want to pin yours up real quick? We do.
Might have somebody from each group just talk.
Yeah, let's have a quick. I think I lost all my group.
David, bring our plan in. We're going to have plan reviews. Thanks, Valerie.
Yeah. We can put it over the. Hey, David, do we have more tape? We have
Making a green screen.
yeah, we just do stickers. Oh, no problem. We have them all up. Thank you. Yeah, so there are 4, right? Okay. Wow. Obviously, I'm gonna practice my shouting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like pretty.
Can I get a volunteer who is working on this one over here to the right to tell us what you came up with?
Okay, so what we decided to do was to try to minimize the noise of the train by creating a large structure where the back is actually to the train so that you could really soundproof that side. And then create a space, like a 2-story building with a basement so that like for example, you have police coming in from here, the police station with all the parking for the police cars underneath. And then you could have maybe the council or the main public space being when you walk in, so you can have a big open space and then the town council, and then have the post office, and either have the library here or conceivably buy this property down here and put the library here. Then create a very nice big open plaza so that you could do performances or shows or just have a big nice meeting place here, walkways, and create really a center space. And then put the road, actually make the road turn the corner, go down here along the edge so that you're getting away from taking a space right in front of the building. And then I know that you're not supposed to have any kind of commerce in the city, but possibly put in a coffee shop or something else that would kind of create that community feeling on Saturday mornings when people want to talk with friends and so on. And then come around here and maybe use this for the historical society or a historical building, possibly a coffee shop there, that's another option. And then come down here and either reuse this building for something or put a community pool or something that would be a nice way to bring, again, the community together. And then up here, use this, really use a lot of this space for Caltrain parking, and again, accessing parking under the building could be thing. And you could either keep the train station here or it could actually be moved down here. So again, you're creating a less of a congested area here and kind of create a space again where you could have a beautiful side of the building on the different areas. Maybe this is the main police in and out, but this side is one that you have like a little nice place to sit while you're waiting for the train and so on. So, and then this area down here, use it more for the public works and again, that storage area, so on trucks. Did I miss anything, Valerie?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Great,
Covered it
thank
all.
you. Thank you. Okay, who would like to volunteer
Come on, John.
Clive, John, Paul,
Somebody,
Rick,
somebody.
and Ann.
We felt that a potential traffic circle here in the middle, with a statement piece of art or statement piece in the middle, and then adding bike lanes and bringing the street along, continuing here and bringing along here into the circle, moving the entrance away from here and bringing it kind of into the circle, and then possibly even eliminating, making Ashfield a cul-de-sac and just having 2 ways in and out. Would be an idea. Where we clustered buildings and that type of thing wasn't it was big an item, but
You take care.
Ann had I think it was Ann, had an idea for, make sure that we have a good connection, a good walking path that really invites people to come over here and just kind of be involved in the community center. So we like the buildings along here where there's easy access to them, and we also like open space. 2-story buildings we felt were better with more open space than 1-stories and less open space. That was just kind of our conclusion. And underground parking for employees we thought would be very good part of this too, to keep a lot of open space.
Great.
And I did have a little radical, even though I love trees, I did have a radical idea, which was, well, here's the garden walk. So what you would do is you could have it connecting, where behind the library is to almost to Fair Oaks. And actually, I see Lauren's idea, I think, gives you more space by having it like that, but I was thinking of the noise of the train. So I had the community center sort of start here, and since you're going to do something about this dangerous light, perhaps putting a stoplight here, so the entrance would be somewhere here, and then you would go into this 2-story center, which would have a connecting over street walkway, which Denise said can be very urban feeling and not friendly, so maybe it's not a good idea. But have the more functional, the ones that people don't access, but the working people in the community work on the 2nd floor, so they would be the ones that would be using the over the ground walkway. In this garden walk, we could have like those little tables, those little cafe tables that we have behind the library. This would be a place for flowers or sort of gathering in the center. And then this would be the 2 end. But the radical idea is maybe turn this park into parking, I love trees, I hate to take a tree down, but this is so dark, nobody ever uses it, that and a concrete circle. And so if we're short of parking, that would be an option to get rid of, keep the trees, maybe extend the walk all the way to here if you want, but this is very dark in here and nobody uses it. So put parking there.
Well, thank you. Plan.
John wants to join our committee.
Who wants to
Ann
speak
already
to that
did.
one? You got to cover that?
Yeah, this is Scott and David and Tony.
Okay.
David's there, where's Tony? I guess he didn't want to take credit for it. All right, so for those of you who can see it, this is the most radical of all the 3 plans. Everything to the right of this line is park. We've removed this road, we've removed this road, and we're putting the what do they call this? The yard? Yeah, the corporate yard. All the corporate yard is here, and the access is off this road. So basically, the only thing to the right that isn't park is the corporate yard, which is buried all the way over here with their own access. All right, so we keep this building, repurpose it, obviously, but we like the architecture, and we think the positioning is perfect, and it would be obviously a focal point within the new park. So what are we going to do with all the people who have jobs to do? We put everything centrally located here in a multi-story building. If necessary, our building will be taller than the skyscraper in Palo Alto. Oh, ATHERTON. The thing that some of us are historically minded, and we thought it would be wonderful if we could integrate the architecture the way Stanford has done, because they have obviously the quad, which is very historic, but all the modern buildings are complementary. So it looks like this whole civic center and the new civic park was professionally designed. Thank you, Matthew. So the interesting thing is we may not be able, it may not be necessary for us to add any new parking, because when the building is full of people, the train station parking lot is available, because the trains only stop in Aspen on the weekend. On the weekend, there are no employee parked there. They're on vacation. Yes?
We're hoping that in 2019 that we will have 6 stops a day. Yes, yes. After the CalMod electrification, they've, if it starts in 2017, by 2019, our station will reopen. They've promised
If it
that.
happens, yeah, okay. Who
Yes.
made the promise?
Caltrain.
The rail committee is.
Oh, Caltrain, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Rosemary. We have another expert on the high-speed rail, Greg Conlon.
We sure do.
Well, I think it'll happen. The holdout station's gotta happen first. Nothing's gonna happen until they get rid of the platform between the tracks.
If it does happen, then obviously, our suggestion would be just extend the parking lot along here, because it's on the periphery, doesn't really, and maximizes the contiguous park area. All right, so when it happens, if it happens, then we just extend the parking lot this way. The consideration we had with respect to parking for this, the parking lot extends about to here, and that's basically half a block, and a lot of us probably parked there to get here tonight. So if it doesn't happen, then we should have enough parking with the existing parking spaces.
Great.
Okay, any questions?
What street is this down here that you said only the Public Works would have access? Is that?
This is an existing street. No. I said, Public Works would be accessing this existing street, but obviously they would not, Public Works would not have to come into the park space.
Right, and
So
that
the
street
entrance
is
to the
Maple
yard,
or-
corporate yard,
That's
pardon me?
Maple.
Yeah,
But
Maple.
they're not going to access Maple from El Camino, they would access it from Watkins, right?
Oh, either
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Well, the corporate yard is here, whatever the street is. If it's Maple, then the corporate yard would be accessed from Maple.
Or Station Way goes over to what?
Right.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't live in this part of town. David, help me. Tony lives over on the other side of those tracks too. Yes?
Perhaps I missed it, but do you envision through traffic that you'd be able to connect from Maple?
No, you're stopping.
Through our park?
Yes.
Through the Atherton Park? No, there's
Yes.
a, this
He's
is,
to the outside.
it says pedestrians.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Pedestrians only, and, you know, if we can get Ann to sign on to a program, we'll allow her to keep her pedestrian walkway.
Garden walkway.
Garden walkway, thank you, which we think we would fully support a garden walkway.
Great, thank you. Okay, anyone left from the group I was working with? Paul? No, you want to describe it? Rick, you kind of said it on the end?
Yeah, I'll do it. It's really interesting how all three are different. I mean, all three are really different. So this one didn't have the vision of the big park, but felt like we should move Station Lane from where Station Lane is right here to move it down along the tracks and to have it go all the way through to Fair Oaks. We shut off. We actually had sort of two options. One was to shut off Ashfield and make it a cul-de-sac, and the other was to move Ashfield over through the top of our property line to Fair Oaks, so that it doesn't come through at this intersection. And then in terms of the town center, the idea was to position the police at this end. I think that we envisioned kind of three separate buildings around a central square that was here, with the police at this end so they could they'd have two access points, which we imagined would be important, and a town center building here, which would be the administrative offices and the planning department, with parking right along here, so you have the same feel of accessing these services from a center. You know, and you can park in front of it just like you can today, which we thought everybody liked. And in the library, we would keep the facade of this building, maybe part of this building as an entry to the library, or maybe as the historical society, but then open the library up down to this park or down to this new park area that would be opened up by taking out Station Way.
And then some more parking maybe down at that end. I mean,
Yeah,
people
and
were
then,
saying,
that's right. And
you know,
down
people who
here,
just want to
create
come to the
some more
library,
parking
closer access.
from Maple for the library.
And whatever's not used behind the police, more green space on that end as well. So it's basically, you know, buffering a big pedestrian zone with buildings by the streets on either side.
Where's the train parking?
The train parking would stay.
Stay along the street.
Stay where it is, and
So it would be on the train side of the street you just ran?
Yeah, if they
That's
don't
right.
widen the tracks,
Or-
there's still room for some parking along
yeah, or
there.
you could put some parking right in here
Along the new
too.
street where it's relocated, you could do it right along the street as well.
Is that data that you have about how much parking is needed for Caltrain when there is service during the week?
We don't have that yet. We will be meeting with them, so we fully understand, you know, where they are, their plans, you know, what they would anticipate the ridership to be and the potential parking needs. So what
Even if you
we,
got the data from prior to 5 or 6 years ago.
yeah, I mean, that's something we're gonna get so that we can do the best we can,
And
anticipating.
the library be in the town center?
I think this group sort of wanted to keep it like with some use of this building or keeping part of this building and put it sort of behind it so that it's right next to it, but it's sort of off to the side. So you could come to the same center, but they sort of saw the library still being over in its same general location it is now. That was the impression that I got from this group.
I mean, there's some challenge in terms of putting the library in the same building as the rest of the Civic Center, because the library and the Civic Center are built with two separate funds, and the library funds can be used only for library purposes. You can make that separation, but it's a little more challenging if it's in a common building.
I think for librarians, this may constitute more employment. I don't know, people in the library committee have tossed the idea of having a children's library or up to some adolescent or whatever age group, and then a more adult library, so that we keep that wonderful tradition of, you know, mothers having kids on their laps in a very human-sized, child-sized space in our old library, but then somehow you would have another library which would have more adult access and computers, etc., you know, and I don't know.
So if I can just address, the library committee has thought, I'm on the library
Yeah,
committee,
okay,
and we
thank
thought
you.
about that a lot.
Okay.
And we visited 8 libraries in the area. And the big thing in libraries today, because more people are going to libraries, this is an amazing fact, more people are going to physical libraries than have ever gone to libraries in history, which is amazing. Given the access of information over, you know, electronic information transfer systems, it's amazing how people are coming to libraries, but it's partly because libraries are repurposing themselves to really focus on children on one hand and programming on the other hand. So there are rooms that are offering programs in libraries more extensively now than have ever been done before. So in the concept of the library that we've discussed, we've talked about we need a real children's area that doesn't overflow into where the adults would be and is large enough to handle the students that come to story time. And we have 100 students at a story time on a regular basis every week. And on a month, we have 200 students that come, or kids that come.
Great.
And so it's 200 in some occasions come
Yeah.
to this library. They take up the entire library. You couldn't read there while they were all there. because they're, I mean,
When our
it's a
children
big
were
demand.
2, they were very quiet.
But mine weren't.
Well, thank you,
So-
members of that group
Thank
still
you.
here. So it's 7:03, I want to get you guys out of here.
Hang on one moment, though,
Yes.
because I think this whole process is taking on an incredibly strong community focus.
Yes.
And I want to commend all the council members, but in particular Mayor Elizabeth Lewis, for basically reigniting our civic center process. So thank you very much.
It's been a great joy to work with this professional consulting team and our staff. Gordon Siebert, Mike Hashawagi, thank you so much for the good eats We've got Ed Flint out there too, and George Roberts. We couldn't have done it without him. So,
If
George Gordon?
I want to mention, if anyone has not had the opportunity to tour the town's facilities, you can get in touch with me, call me in Public Works, and I'll be happy to arrange a tour, inside, behind the scenes tour. Limited seating, tickets are very valuable, but just give me a call.
If you haven't toured the police department, it
Yeah,
is better than
tour it.
Disneyland.
Yeah.
It is worth seeing
The
while
last
it
thing I
exists.
want you guys to know is what I posted up here are, these are all the other kinds of meetings we're having during this process. And the outreach subcommittee, part of the CCAC, they will continue to be sending things out, emails, postcards, to keep telling you when the next opportunities are. We are so excited how many of you came tonight and how many of you stayed through the whole thing. We want to see you again because we really want to keep your input throughout the process. So some of the key things, I know you all can't go to everything, but some things to highlight for you. There will be a series of neighborhood meetings that are going to take place starting at the very end of October. So we've got 4 of those dates identified. There's one more we're going to identify and schedule. So those are going to be opportunities to go into your neighbors' homes in a smaller, intimate setting. And we're going to be at that stage presenting design options to you. So just kind of like you did tonight, we'll be coming back with design options based on all the information we've collected and get your comments on pros and cons, what you like best of any of the options we've developed. Then there will be a city council study session which will bring together kind of most of the results of those discussions and present those to city council, discuss them with city council. That's another opportunity for you if you went to one of the neighborhood meetings to see what did all the other neighborhood meetings say, how did it all come together. And then there's a second public workshop just like tonight where once we've kind of seen a preferred solution emerge, we'll have another public workshop to start talking about priorities in that solution, little comments or adjustments that still want to be made to be refining it so that it really is the master plan you want. So those are some key dates to keep in mind so that we can keep getting your input all the way through.
I just want to make a point. Sunday, Lindenwood Homes Association is having its annual meeting, Sunday, September 22nd from 3 to 5. Our CCAC team, not our consultants, but our CCAC members will have a table there with some of this, probably the graphic display.
Yeah, we're going to photograph everything and then send you back some of these exhibits and graphics that you can post them at the neighborhood
with
meeting.
handouts and information about when the next neighborhood meeting is going to be, which would be October 28th. And so maybe they could come there, come for more interactive like this, or there's going to be one neighborhood meeting in Lindenwood to be determined. So we need a volunteer to host it. So.
And Elizabeth, could you or Paul or Clive speak to some people were asking me, they may be gone now, how are you going to also offer ways for people to keep up with the information, and how could they, if they miss one of these meetings or they didn't speak up, are there other ways they can give comments? People were asking me that.
I think, Clive, Paul, you can say there's our outreach committee, and then the city manager.
Well, we've talked about outreach, it's extremely important. One of the things that we want to try and get going is a page on our town website that will have all this information posted on it. All these dates, the material that we develop will all be posted on there.
Okay.
So people have the opportunity to see what we're doing.
Great.
We're very concerned about making sure you're updated, that it's very transparent what's going on with the committee and the progress. And I know George has got, that's a wrap. Sometimes you include it in that. And what else with the town website? Have you been?
The town website, if you open up the town's website, look on the left-hand side, there's a button that says Civic Center Project. You click on that. That'll take you right to the project webpage where we'll be putting all of this information up on a regular basis.
Great. Thank you. Thanks everyone for spending
Yes,
your
thank you
evening
for
with
coming.
us. Really appreciate it.